Hello, welcome to this small training session on cybersecurity risks in artificial intelligence system. As we know, there is an advent of artificial intelligence in our day-to-day life, be it generative AI like ChatGPT, Copilot, Sora, Perplexity, and other systems. Or may it be agentic AI, AI that we see in, say, the bank chatbots or various chatbots, customer service supports, or we see AI in even specific, say, cybersecurity solutions, wherein you can see that the AI is used to detect anomalies and work and support the engineers do their job even more effectively. But as in any system, there are risks associated with each of these systems. Whether we consider an anti-malware solution, whether we consider the state-of-art operating systems, or we consider any software or hardware which is used in today's cyber connected world or connected internet or interconnected systems, these are a reality of the day. So if we need to have a trustworthy artificial intelligence system, cybersecurity risks associated with these need to be taken care. If we need to take care of these cybersecurity risks, we need to understand what are the cybersecurity risks. So today in this session, it's our endeavor to analyze and go through and briefly present these risks, and then subsequently we can see how to possibly avoid these risks. Okay, so I'm Naveen Menon. I'm your host for the day for this session. I have come with a decade-long background on cybersecurity, be it information security, be it cybersecurity in terms of operational technology, which means 62443, NIST 1882, or it means ISO 27001, ISO 27002, NIST 1852, so on and so forth. So that is the agenda for the day. Okay, so to build trustworthy artificial intelligence system, 5 key parameters are necessary. And what are those 5 key parameters? Fairness, transparency, reliability, privacy, and accountability. To build these into the system, we need to understand key aspects of cybersecurity. So what is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity depends upon 3 basic pillars, which is known to everyone. So say confidentiality, integrity, availability. Okay, so availability is the presence of data or data systems or systems to people who are authorized to access that. Say, for example, you have a bank account and you have some money in that account. Now you have a login ID and password into that account, so you should be able to access that information at any point in time when you want it. Right? So that is availability. If say somebody wanted to access in the midnight, you should be able to get that information. When somebody wanted to access it at any point in time, you should be able to access it. So, and that is availability of that particular information system. If it's not accessible, that means it's not available, and hence we say there is it is not secure because of those parameters, or anything that could affect that parameter of it not being available is a say function of availability. Now let's look at integrity. Now say in the same bank account you have, for example, $1,000, and when you open, it's available to you, and when you open it, you see that the value that you have is maybe $995 or it's $2,000, whatever it is, increased or decreased. In either case, it's not the correct amount that was supposed to be there, so it is changed. Okay, so this lack of correctness is called lack of integrity. So anything which leads to, whether it be an attack which has happened due to, say, man in the middle attack, or changes during the data was being transmitted, or at rest, whenever it was changed, but the data which is there is not same, and so that is loss of integrity. Okay, and then confidentiality. Now, say suppose your bank account, and anybody can access that. So what's your private thing, what's your personal thing, is now accessible to any number of people, right? So that is what we call as a lack of confidentiality. So while it has to be available, it has to be correct, and what is correct also has to be confidential. That means it should be only available to people who actually require it, and not anyone and everyone around the world. So these are the key three fundamental principles of cybersecurity along which it has been built. Okay, so taking on from here, there are other concepts also for cybersecurity. Say privacy is a concept, anonymity is a concept. However, these are the three key pillars. The difference between privacy and anonymity is that I always explain it in this way. Say there is somebody who's there's a car parked in front of a house. A man comes, he goes into the house and closes the door. What happens inside the house is private to the man. Nobody can see. Everybody knows that the man has entered the house, but nobody knows what he does inside the house, right? So you know who it is, you don't know what he's doing in there. So that is privacy. Okay, now say the same case for the car parked in front of the house. There's somebody who has come with a mask on his face, and he washes the car and goes. So now you know that someone has washed the car, but you don't know who has washed the car. So that is anonymity, right? So it's like anonymous posts on various social media sites where you want to say someone something, but you are scared of putting your name, fearing backlash or whatever the reason it may be. So that is the concept of anonymity. Okay, so these are key terms which we need to know when we try to tackle cybersecurity. Okay, now taking this forward, we need to understand. Now we have at least a high level understanding of what cybersecurity we are talking about. Now we need to understand what is risks in cybersecurity that we talk about. Okay, so risk in cybersecurity. What is the risk? In simple terms, a risk is a chance that something bad could happen. Okay, a risk is a chance that something bad could happen. Now, what is that bad could happen? Say, suppose you are driving from your office to home. Now, the tire could be punctured, right? So, that's a bad outcome. That means you are stranded on the road. So, that is what are the chances that it could happen. It could happen once in a year. It could happen depending upon the road condition, depending on many parameters associated with it. So it depends. So there is a chance that it would happen. So the chance that something bad, the chance is the likelihood, which depends upon the road conditions, the tire conditions, your driving, type, and so on and so forth, and the impact. The impact is that you are stuck on the road. Okay, so what do? We keep a spare tire. We don't keep a spare car, we keep a spare tire, right? We don't keep 4 tires, we keep 1 tire. Right? So that is a control depending upon the likelihood, which is the chance, and the impact, which is getting stuck on the road, right? So that is anything bad that could happen is a risk. Okay, that is to put it simply. Now in cyber terms, we always say a risk is there when there is a threat and when there is a vulnerability. Now what is a threat? A threat is something which could cause a harm, right? And a vulnerability is something which is a weakness which could be exploited. A threat is usually referred to in terms of 2 parameters. One is a threat actor and second is a threat action. So actor executes a particular action and a threat is formed. And the vulnerability is something which is a weakness which has been exploited. If there is no vulnerability, how much of a threat is there? there is no problem. If there is no threat, whatever the weakness, there is no issue. For example, if you have a house which is constructed inside a military base and you leave the doors open, you have no vulnerability. You have no threat because you are inside the military base. No enemy can get in your house. Right? Say suppose the same way, say, or you have a house. You have a house built in the middle of Sahara Desert, but there is for kilometers and kilometers there is no inhabitation. Right? So if you don't have a wall, you don't have a boundary, you don't have a door to the house, it's okay because there is no threat in that area. Right? So that is definition. So if there is no vulnerability, there is no risk. There is no threat, there is no risk. Okay. So now when there is risk, when there is some threat, when there is some vulnerability, then we take the risk rating into account, and there comes in likelihood and impact. Right? So you have the chance, which we discussed earlier. What are the chances of this happening, and the impact? If this happens, then what could happen? Okay. So this understanding is very important when as we go forward and look at say something called the cybersecurity risk in artificial intelligence. Okay. So now we are all aware that the cyber systems don't operate in the mind. Cybersecurity systems operate on systems, right? So those systems may be hardware or software, right? So they are built on computer systems. Okay, so any deficiencies in the computer systems will also obviously impact these systems, right? So we look into them and we look into what are the key risks associated. So what are the cybersecurity risks that we are talking about? So we have adversarial manipulation, we have data poisoning, we have model theft and inversion, we have prompt injection of the LLMs, we have supply chain vulnerabilities, cloud and infrastructure risks, insider threats, unauthorized access. So these are some of the cybersecurity risks that we will be looking into at this time. Okay, and also it's important to understand what is an adversarial manipulation. Okay, so basically it exploits vulnerabilities in how models interpret the data. Okay, how the models are interpreting the data is what makes artificial intelligence be able to provide results. Okay, so it exploits the vulnerabilities in this interpretation methodology itself. Okay, so the attackers will subtly alter inputs. Okay, and it will alter the inputs. Example, adding some noise or sticker to the images, which will confuse or it will change the interpretation of this artificial intelligence. Okay, so for example, the self-driving car misreads a stop sign as a yield sign. Okay, so that's how this works. Okay, so this leads to what? This leads to unsafe or maliciously guided outcomes. Okay, the next that we talk about is data poisoning. Okay, what happens in data poisoning? It causes insertion of malicious or biased data into the training sets. We discussed previously that the training sets or the information which is inputted into the training systems of the artificial intelligence is what helps it make decisions, right? So insertion of malicious or biased data into the training sets itself. So what happens? Training set is poisoned. Okay, so how can this be done? Attackers upload, say for example, fake reviews or mislabeled data. So instead of the data being correctly labeled, if you mislabel it, then the entire validity of that set is lost. Okay, or it learns it in a different way, or corrupt file is uploaded. So for example, a spam filter, which is an artificial intelligence for spam filter, is trained with poison data that starts classifying spam as a legitimate income. Okay, so this is a very good example of data poisoning, and what happened because of this, it can create backdoors or a systematic bias, because bias is very important in artificial intelligence. We learned in the first slide itself fairness, transparency and reliability, and bias you can see on the top there, and bias will ensure that there is no fairness in this artificial intelligence. So this is a very valid and imminent cyber risk associated with that. Now, third one which we would like to discuss is model theft and inversion. The causes for that is repeated probing of models to extract parameters or data. Okay, so you probe the model repeatedly, and the purpose of this probing is to extract parameters or data. And the method is query-based attacks, reverse engineer decision boundaries, and so on. So it can then provide information. For example, of this an attack is that a competitor reconstructs a proprietary fraud detection model. Okay, by basically using this reverse construction, because he does not have it, now he needs to make it. So how do I get all the data and all those things? I will reconstruct it, right? So this is model theft and inversion. Okay, and the impact of this is loss of IP, intellectual property, exposure of sensitive training data. Okay, so this inadvertently giving sensitive information is the cyber impact of this. Okay, very common. Next one is one of the most common thing, prompt injection, which is exploiting the natural language instructions without proper control. Yeah? So that's the cause of this. Exploiting natural language instructions without proper control. Okay. So what is the method? Hidden prompts in documents. We have documents. We do a lot of things. Websites, user queries. Okay. So hidden. And these are the methods. Now, what is the example? A poison web page makes a chatbot reveal internal company data. The impact: data leakage, policy bypass, reputational risks, and so on and so forth. Okay. Supply chain vulnerabilities. So the next one is supply chain vulnerabilities. So basically, we rely on anything in information security or in IT. There's a lot of reliance on the supply chain, because you don't make the hardware, you don't make the software. Even data for the artificial intelligence, the company making the LLM or making the product may not have it. These data may be acquired and so on. So exploiting or heavy reliance on these external libraries, APIs or pre-trained models is the cause for this supply chain vulnerabilities. Okay, so the malicious code hidden in this machine learning packages or model that could lead to supply chain vulnerabilities. For example, dependencies. Dependency confusion attack on a Python ML library could be there, and it could compromise and spread across multiple organizations. Okay, so the reliance on and not having appropriate supply chain controls, because at the end of the day, not just cybersecurity, not just information systems, operational systems, everything has a heavy dependence on supply chain vulnerabilities, and they need to be assessed in a different light altogether. Infrastructure risk, cloud infrastructure. If you're using cloud, then cloud risk. If you're using regular on-prem infrastructure, then those that could lead to weak implementation, improper segregation, improper configuration, so which could be easily exploited, and it could lead to a lot of things which could be even, for example, led to data loss, model theft, or DOS of the artificial intelligence system itself by using the vulnerabilities of the software hardware associated with that particular implementation. You have insider threats. Insider threats It's a common thing which is there in whether it's infosec risks or cybersec risks or artificial intelligence cybersecurity risks. So it's malicious or careless employees. Either you don't know or you don't care, or you act or you do on behest to get some money or something like that. So this is a very critical risk. Unauthorized access within, without the organization, inside, outside. Once you access the system, then it's absolutely game on for anybody. So these are the key cyber risks associated with artificial intelligence. So mitigation of these cyber security risks, how to mitigate them and how to build a trustworthy artificial intelligence system is based on these key parameters: fairness, trustworthiness, reliability, privacy and accountability. How to get there? Please read my article, A CIO's Guide to Implementation of ISO 42001. In this article you can see a 90-day worksheet plan on how to implement these systems effectively and gain insights from that. I had a wonderful time talking to you. I hope you also enjoyed this session and learned from it. Thank you so much. Have a good day.